blades. Oh man, you know, she got all stinking ticked off at me. I just couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Oh God, it's always the same thing, huh?
Dude, what? I don't understand what the big deal is. I wear a massage condom inside out.
What?
I don't see what the problem is. You know.
Oh, hey guys.
What's up, guys?
Brian here.
Jesse?
My man Jesse. Good to see you again, brother.
Oh, it's been a little bit. It's been a little bit.
Oh boy, oh boy. So you're watching MMA the hard way, and UFC on FX5. It was a big weekend actually. We
I thought it was
Friday
pretty good.
night and Saturday night.
Yep.
Obviously, but maybe we could cover UFC on FX5, and then I could get into Invicta, and then we could talk about what's going on at UFC 153. Huh?
Yep.
So,
A lot of action coming up.
boy, you know, I think that that was a fantastic card. You know, it wasn't packed full of superstars.
But it's still delivered.
It did. You know, there's so many guys that are fantastic to watch in UFC in the middle of the pack that, you know.
You see the hunger there. You see they just want that challenge. They want to, you know, overcome that one fight and just get to the next one. I'll tell you right now what it was quick and it was a great fight. The submission.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could go back down. What we got?
Let's break them down.
So maybe we start at the top.
Yeah, Silva and
Brown.
Brown, yeah, Travis Brown.
Yeah, you know, my initial opinion. I'm a big Travis Brown fan. I mean, I was there with him at Reign when he was he used to be with Alliance, and he trained with Phil Davis and Gustafsson actually, and he did come up to Reign, and I mean, I have interviewed him a couple times. Been a big fan, you know, watching him, you know, since I guess like when he fought Congo and all this stuff, and watched him just progress. So I've just been on a tear. But the first like 15 seconds when he just started throwing whatever kind of
haymakers,
and I was like, dude, you gotta watch out.
He's gonna get caught.
You gotta watch out. This guy is Black House certified. He's a killer, and you know, I think Greg Jackson's going to take that one back and say, you know what, this is the opposite of pulling guys that are pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
You know,
I think personally in my mind, I'm thinking that I don't know Travis as well as you know him very well, but I was thinking, you know, I wonder if in the back of his mind he was underestimating him from what he saw Cain Velasquez do to him. Because they're almost the same. Travis and Cain's body style is almost the same. So he's thinking, you know, if I could...
Yeah, I'm going to get this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's slow. I don't know. All I know is, man,
he got clocked.
You got to watch out for that guy. You know, he is top 10. I think he's still, a lot of people would consider him top 10. He made it pretty far in the Strikeforce heavyweight tournament. I mean, you know,
he ground and pounded Fedor into oblivion.
Yeah, and he is anyone that comes from Black House, you know, you just right there, you just have to say to yourself,
you have to give it. You can't throw caution to win.
Yeah.
You really can't. You know, what do you think of Ellenberger?
Well, you know, I mean, personally, you know,
that fight could have won either way.
Yeah, it could have. And I was glad for Jake that he got the win, you know, avenge the loss. But something tells me that there might be if Huron continues to win, and if they both continue to win,
rematch down the line.
I could see there being a rubber match because one of those guys has to finish the other one.
Yeah.
Convincingly. They're both completely different fighters. Jake was very hesitant to. He didn't want to get knocked out again, and I think that was a big thing on his mind.
Just like they always say, after a knockout, you kind of you come back a little more. Remember when Little Matt Serra knocked out GSP?
Yeah.
It totally changed GSP's game plan.
Yeah, and it didn't turn him into a more boring fighter. It just
much more surgical, much more careful.
Yeah, he said, the thing with Jake is that he had been relying on his striking somewhat because Mascaderos taught him this sick Muay Thai, and he had been relying on that so much that he almost forgot about the fact that his wrestling became a non-issue. When, you know, like Coach Ed was telling us when we were telling him, is that you got to use the whole package, you know. And if Jake, he's always got the double leg.
Yeah.
That's there, like 24/7. Hey man, why not use it? Threaten it. Make the guy go up and down.
Keep the guy guessing.
Throw that knee,
yeah.
you know. And I think that he's just going to continue to improve. I just was hoping that, I was just hoping he was going to get the W, and he did. Huron didn't show any signs of being any less. I think he's a worthy of being in the UFC,
they didn't walk through each other. They didn't walk through each other.
And I think Huron's, he's got his head's on straight, and his skill set has, continued to improve, and I think he's going to be a legitimate guy that's in the upper part of the middle of the pack. That's where I'd place him, at least.
He's exciting to watch. He's not boring. He brings it all the time. Now, I was jumping the gun. Edwards and Neer. That was quick, and it was just. I mean, if you blinked, you missed it.
I wouldn't doubt it if within 2, maximum 3 weeks, Edwards' next fight is announced. And the reason I was going to say that is I noticed the same thing was happening with Mark Munoz in the last few years. And when I interviewed Mark a year and a half ago, and I was doing the research for the interview, I was doing some studying, and I realized that never more than 2 weeks went by after every one of his fights before they had him matched up against someone else. And I asked him about that, and I said, isn't that kind of a sign of respect? It's like a nod, from the UFC.
An acknowledgement. Okay,
we want to get you going as fast as possible. You are card ready. You are, as opposed to, we had to fill that hole with somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh well, the guy's got 4 fights on his contract.
If it's an impressive
9 months.
If it's an impressive win, they want to keep your name very relevant.
Yeah, that's got to be it. I figure,
Now, the next fight was kind of interesting, Dodson and Formiga. I thought Formiga was going to really bring it, and I think he was just hesitant. You said he was the bright lights. You said,
I was thinking he got, big showitis.
The bright lights, but the fight, the fight did go back and forth, a lot of feeling and touching, but you know what? Dodson did drop him a couple times.
I'll bet you we see McCall Formiga.
Both coming back from adversity, trying to get a W.
I mean, he was coming in as they were calling him the #1 in the world. I don't know. They were calling Ian McCall the #1 in the world when they announced the tournament. So,
but I see that happening. I can see that happening. Just a little sidebar. If you heard a lot of people booing and then cheering all of a sudden when they're fighting, I read a little blurb somewhere that Pat Barry's watching the fight and he's enjoying it.
Now, which fighter was one of Pat Barry's guys?
I believe it was Dodson.
Oh, okay.
It might have been Dodson. I could be wrong the way I read it.
Yeah.
But he was fighting, and
they're Jackson guys. Yeah.
You never want to call one of his friends a pussy
just because he's not pulling the trigger.
Exactly. So this one fan was just basically booing, and he was the guy that was starting up the booing section, all stuff. Say what you want. You got to respect the fighter to a certain extent,
So what did Pat Barry do?
Pat Barry just got up and got in his face, and the booing stopped and the cheering started. So if you were watching the fight, and all of a sudden these cheers erupted. That's when it happened.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to 153.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to 153. Yeah. What's your take on the Silver Bond? I know that everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, the way I look at it, people want to, I've read articles that everyone's chiming in on, what is this? This is just a joke and all this stuff. But it's like, hey, you're Anderson Silva. He can do whatever he wants. Give it to him. Let him, it's fun.
Not so much that, but there's, in MMA, you just never know what happens. You never know what's going to happen.
Bonner. Never been finished.
Yeah.
You got that. So, people are obviously, guys like Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan will find something to talk about, when they ask him.
Yeah.
He's paid to do that. He's paid. He's in the marketing organization,
But Bonner goes to fight. The interesting, funny note is that when they asked They asked Forrest for any advice. He said,
so
"Whatever
funny.
I did, do the opposite,"
Yeah.
which is pretty good. It was, you gotta love that sense of humor. I'm looking forward to that fight. Like I said, it could go either way.
But yeah, I mean, unless you're as fast as Machida, I don't really think you're gonna. I could see him doing the total, doing
Matrix,
this thing with Bonner.
yes,
He's not
yeah.
that fast.
No.
And so
Bonner packs heat, but he doesn't have very quick hands.
I think he might last. Maybe he won't get submitted. I don't think Anderson Silva's going to want to take him down. But I know Stephan Bonner. I think he'll probably try to get the clinch, try to work that into a takedown.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, that would be.
Bonner's
the
a big
game plan.
185er too.
Yeah,
he's not
huge.
small.
He's a very, very
big
big
185er. The next one that's got my interest is Big Nog coming back from his snap crackle pop that he suffered at the hands of Mir.
He's coming back with a vengeance. I mean, Nogueira is like the leader. He's one of the leaders of the Brazilians. I mean, of all of the Brazilians. And you know what? I gained so much respect for him when he was a coach on Tough.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how he was and the mentality? I can see why he's so well respected, because he's such an incredible teacher, and the way that he seriously just
he cares about the technique.
He really did coach those guys.
Yeah.
He was a great coach.
He just wasn't. One thing is to yell instructions. The other one is to give you the instruction and then help you follow through correctly. Moving your hand around. No, you want to grab it over here. He pays attention to every little thing.
Very well loved. One of the most well loved within the fighting community, especially.
Even people that have gotten beat up by him still respect him, and they look at him for advice or whatever.
Okay, so you got Herman, Team Quest guy.
Yeah.
Obviously good wrestling, probably all right cardio. I don't know if he's he can't match up with Nogueira on the ground.
No.
And I'll bet you Nogueira submits him. That's my thing.
That's your end. You gonna go for a submission?
Yep. I think he's not gonna mess around. I mean, maybe he could beat him on his feet, but I don't think.
I think he's gonna go for the submission because what his name stands for, and also somewhere in the back of his warped mind, I'm thinking that I gotta erase that L that Frank Mir gave me with a submission.
Yeah, I mean, it's snapping.
I mean, you actually saw when that happened. You actually saw the skin twitch in that little one. I mean, it was brutal.
How about the fight we're both just super psyched about? Glover Teixeira versus Fabio Maldonado.
That's that's gonna be bang fest. You were talking about how Maldonado was a sparring partner of Chuck Liddell
or Glover.
I'm sorry, Glover. It was and it's just I mean, this is the one guy that no one wants to fight, and now he's fighting again. Rampage pulled out.
I would take the Maldonado fight. You've heard Joe Rogan. He chimes in about Maldonado as well. And he talks about untested killers out there. Maldonado's one of those names that pops up.
I think it's in the end with a KO.
Gosh, I just love. These are my favorite fights.
Yeah.
The guys that both just want to shock the world. Oh,
they're
man,
both hungry. They want to make a statement.
Better.
They want to make a statement. I think it's two things. I think it's either going to be a quick KO, first round KO, or it might be a full-on war like Dan Hendo and Shogun. Remember that? That's actually what I'd be hoping for. It's where it just goes everywhere. That you have to use all of no
their
game
skills.
plan. They just want to finish. They just want to finish.
And then just go balls out the whole time. Yeah, I can see that.
It's going to be a good fight. I'm looking forward to it.
Man, oh man. Hey, well, the last thing we had was, Michael Johnson, he ended up...
Came back from adversity.
Yep, got knocked out of the night.
In the first round, he was in trouble.
We haven't seen a Blackzilian win in a little while. I mean,
that's it. Yeah, he's definitely one of them.
And Nunez Palacheski ended up getting fight of the night.
Yeah,
$40,000.
That's cha-ching. It does help out.
Yeah.
We got some good fights coming up. We got some really, really good fights coming up. I'm really when they, going back to it, they talk about Silva and Bonner. Just when they first announced it, it's just
now
it's just.
I might put some money on Stephan Bonner. You know the odds
Oh,
on that fight have got to be just unbelievable. It'd be great to just put some money on him just for the.
I think even Jimmy Hoffa would come back from wherever he's at and put money on it.
I mean, it's worth it for the payoff.
And like I know I sound like a broken record, but in MMA, you just never know.
No.
You just never know.
I mean, maybe he comes in overconfident.
Congo Barry, look at that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Congo was on roller skates. Done.
Yeah.
Pat Barry went in for the finish, and he got, and that, that's it. It was done.
It was just like a Pete Sell.
Just I don't know.
Steve Smith. You're thinking, oh, here comes Pete Sell. He's going to finish him off.
Yeah, and it's done. I mean, that is the beauty about MMA that I really love and respect. That you just any guy, anytime has a given chance to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all I got to say.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Great show. Take care. Remember, keep commenting, share this with your friends, and support your local MMA. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.